Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar all about Suite for ArcGIS. I'm Sarah St. Ruth, and I'm the Product Manager for Suite, and I'm joined by my colleague Carly Jackson, Suite's very own Product Engineer. A couple of housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared after in a follow-up email that includes lots of useful resources. If you're having audio issues or unable to view the presentation or demos at any time, please check the settings in GoToWebinar. We'll be having a Q&A at the end, so you can ask your questions at any time via the questions pane. In today's session, we're going to be demonstrating Suite for ArcGIS in a variety of different scenarios, from out in the field, administrating land ownership, to editing networks and mapping the internals of a building. We're going to be showing you how you can get started building your own Suite for ArcGIS applications. And in amongst all of that, we'll be giving you a sneak peek at some of the treats we have lined up for our summer release. Before we get onto the good stuff, I wanted to spend a moment discussing why we made Suite in the first place. We wanted to make an app that anybody could use to view and edit spatial data. To do that, we knew we needed to make it a lightweight, focused editing app, which was powerful, yet simple to use. We knew for it to be truly available to anyone in an organisation, it needed to be able to run anywhere. That's why it's a web app and all you need is a browser. Most importantly, we needed to enable a way that organisations could configure the app according to their own business rules, meaning that anyone could capture data and Suite can run through that rule set to make sure it's valid. It's all well and good making a great app that anyone can use, but we wanted to make sure we were removing costly quality assurance processes at the same time. So what does all this look like? Well, it's over to you, Carly.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi everyone, I'm Carly, the Product Engineer. I'm going to start our webinar by demonstrating some of our core functionality in Suite and how with it you can create workflows for collecting and editing habitat data all within its intuitive interface. So here I've got an application to map habitats across Wales. Before I begin editing, I want to give you a quick tour to familiarise yourself with Suite and show you how its user interface is designed to be accessible for everyone. So to start with the obvious, at the centre of everything we do is the map. But surrounding the map, we have a number of tools to which automatically adapt depending on what you're trying to do. At the top, we have the tools that you use the most, and these options can change depending on the map selection. For example, here you can see the options for editing one feature, and then selecting two features shows different functions. Next, we have the left green panel, where you have the options to further explore your data, such as the plan and layer panels, and like with the top bar, options on this panel are dynamic, only showing you the tools as and when you need them. For example, if I select the Create tool, the Stencils panel appears. Again, this reinforces that Suite is optimised to help you spend less time looking for what you're going to use and actually giving you more time to make the edits you want to make. Finally, there are more tools at the bottom that offer more options for creating features. While these tools may not be your most frequent ones to use, they do allow for complete precision if that's what you need. See here where you could draw a feature to an exact length or exact angle. There are so many other ways in which Suite's UI adapts to your users, but I'm going to show you now more of this through this demonstration. So let's start creating features. For this demo, I'll be using the UKHAB specification for my habitat mapping. If you're interested in getting a copy of this spec, you can visit the website at ukhab.org to procure a license. So let's start by creating a Grassland feature. I can select the Choose button, and you can see that I've configured this Polygon layer to have grasslands as a template, and so some of our grassland information is already filled in. This is incredibly useful if you have users that will be drawing the same habitats quite a lot. And I can now immediately start drawing on my map. Suite offers multiple drawing modes, so you don't have to sacrifice accuracy when creating features. So I'm going to switch to curved drawing mode. And I'm also going to switch back to standard to finish drawing my feature. Once you've drawn one feature, you may want to draw another. And the great thing about Suite is that you can ensure these features can't overlap, all thanks to Topology Rules. Topology Rules makes drawing accurately faster and easier in the field and reduces your QA time post-data collection. It's also one of my personal favourite features. You can configure this in the builder, which I'll be showing you later on. But here you can see that I've drawn a feature to overlap other habitats, but when I tick to complete the feature, the boundaries are reshaped to respect the previously drawn habitats. Once a user has drawn a feature, we can look at its properties. I can configure this panel to hide unnecessary fields and also work with drop-down domains so options can be filtered based on prior data entries. This means ecologists aren't overwhelmed with masses of unnecessary information, and it stops them from incorrectly submitting other habitat information that doesn't follow the spec. In addition to these primary properties, we can also add secondary habitats if necessary. Here we have a relationship set up which allows us to add these secondary habitats to the primary record, and you can see now that I'm adding scattered scrub and woodland, pasture and parkland as the two secondary records. Now, if I go back to the primary properties information, Suite has taken these inputs and automatically updated the code information to reflect the new data that's been added to the habitat record. Now, in the left panel, there are plenty of other tools that can help in habitat mapping. An ecologist may want to access supplementary datasets to use as a guide when drawing new habitats. And with Suite's ability to add in reference layers, this is very possible. So right now I'm adding in a SSI layer into my map where I can now create new habitats while snapping to the boundaries of this SSI. Now here you can see that I'm just going to a boundary area of this SSI, and you can now see that I've snapped my new habitat to the vertices. In addition, we have the Plans panel. Here I can take an image file from my device and upload it to Suite for myself or others to use. This is especially useful if you want to digitize paper copies of older maps, as I'm going to show you here. So I've gone to my new location where we have a plan. Here I've uploaded my plan, and I'm now going to spend time resizing it before selecting OK. Once you have a plan in the correct place, you can start choosing your features and using this plan as a guide for your boundaries for those new habitats. Finally, we're going to move on from habitat mapping to look at some of the extra customization that helps ecologists' individual editing experiences. In the settings options here, users can optimize their experience by choosing whatever measurements units they need to use, which could be meters or could be acres or hectares. It could be simply adding or removing the tool names, and it could even be changing the theme. As you can see, we even offer a high contrast theme for those with visual impairments. To summarise what I've just shown you, you've seen how an ecologist can create new habitats with a touch of a button, and how Suite can intuitively filter and update the information associated with that habitat. You've also seen how other information can be included from multiple sources, and how you can customise your own view to help guide your data collection. And now I'm going to pass back to Sarah.
Thanks, Carly. So you've seen how Suite can be used to capture spatial data about the world around us. Now let's take a look at how you can use Suite to edit a network. Within Suite, we can model how features are connected to one another. In this scenario, I'm managing my bus route network. Within this app, I can create new permanent bus routes or map out temporary ones. Each section of the permanent bus route needs to be connected to one another via a bus stop. As I choose to create a new route, you can now see that all of my bus stops are glowing yellow. This is giving me feedback as a user that these are all the valid points of which I can connect my new permanent bus route. If I try to create a route which isn't connected to a bus stop, we can see that each end has turned red. And I've now got a message in my connectivity panel telling me that there's an issue. Once the issue is fixed, the red feedback disappears, as does the message in the connectivity panel. This means that my data is valid. I also have a rule that there must be a bus stop where two parts of the routes join. You can see that the app has already created these bus stops for me automatically. This speeds up my editing process and ensures my data is valid and doesn't require any further QA processes before running it through further network tools. So let's have a look at a slightly different scenario. I'm going to create a temporary bus route due to some upcoming road closures. Now, there are slightly different rules applied to temporary routes as there are permanent. The first one is that it can connect to anywhere on the network, not just at bus stops. You can see that when I select temporary routes, the existing bus network in its entirety begins to glow, not just the bus stops. It's policy in this scenario that there should be bus stops no further than 400 metres from one another. I've now got a message on the screen telling me how many bus stops are needed for this temporary route. There is also a rule to automatically populate this information on the attributes of the temporary routes. So here you can see the number of bus stops needed and how many are currently on the route. Once I've added the required bus stops, the attributes have been updated and the feedback disappears. This augmented editing experience with the glowing valid connection points and the dynamic feedback telling me the number of bus stops helps me as a user to ensure I'm making correct edits the first time and that data is valid according to the rules of my network. This means this data is ready for further analysis, routing and reporting without needing to run further QA processes, enabling us to build a network which is ready for the rest of the organisation to use. Over to you, Carly.
Thanks, Sarah. Moving on from transport, I'm going to show you two scenarios of how you can capture land ownership parcels quickly and accurately. Here I have a simple app that can add plans and other additional datasets. So to start, I'm going to load my land ownership example from the plans panel. In my previous demonstration, I showed you how to add a plan and georeference it, but as I've already uploaded and positioned this plan, I'm just going to show you how to reload it onto my map and zoom to my location of interest. In this scenario, I want to use data from a master map layer and use it to choose boundaries for a new land parcel that I want to outline. This can be achieved through Suite's copy and paste function. To begin, I'm going to add in master map data as a supplementary layer through the process you've seen before. Now that's loaded, I'm going to select the master map boundary I want to copy from. All I need to do now is press copy at the top, then select paste, which brings up this panel with a number of options. We can paste the feature as additional geometry onto the original master map outline, or it can be pasted into a stencil to be drawn in the future. For this scenario, I would want to choose the resulting boundary to be pasted into the land parcels layer. Then all I would need to do is select paste. And there we have it. The boundaries of one feature taken and used as a land parcel in our land parcels layer. But this is just one scenario of how Suite supports land parcel editing. In another scenario, I want to create a new building footprint using this land record map as a guide, but additionally, I want this new land parcel to be created at precise measurements from another building. We want this new footprint to sit exactly 11 metres away from this building here and to an angle of 175 degrees. It sounds impossible to draw off the top of my head, but we can achieve this exact accuracy with a mixture of precision tools at the bottom here and with Suite measurements. There are two ways to use measurements in Suite. They can be used to show the measurements of land parcel segments when creating a footprint, and they can be separate line and polygon layers that can be drawn for guiding purposes. So I'm going to go with the latter and choose the length measurement layer here. And I'm going to start drawing alongside this feature on my land record map. Now you'll see the segment box at the bottom where I'm going to define this next segment to be the length of 11 meters. And now you can see the segment line has been reduced. I'm also going to add 175 degrees into the angle box here, and now my drawing segment is completely restricted from deviating these values. All I have to do is select the screen to confirm. Now I want to keep the next segment length the same, but change the angle to 90 degrees. And now I can complete the measurement line. This has set up the exact starting locations for my land parcel feature, which I can now choose to draw. I just need to make sure my snapping is turned on, and so I can begin. So what I've just shown you are multiple ways of capturing land parcel information, from simple copying and pasting to more precise measurement tools. And now I'm going to pass back to Sarah.
Thanks, Carly. So in the demonstration so far, we've explored how Suite can be configured for any editing workflow to capture real-world features, whether this is habitats, land ownership, or even the connectivity of networks. Now I'd like to show you how we can configure Suite to map the internal real-world assets too. So here I have a floor plan of our office. Like many organisations, we too are looking at what office life is like after the pandemic. In this scenario, I'm taking the role of a facilities manager and looking at how we can rearrange desks to reflect the new social distancing guidelines. This app has been configured to give me, the facilities manager, a simple to use planning app with lots of feedback to answer any questions that I have. Here you can see the potential capacity of this floor based on the number of power sockets in this dynamic chart. The small light blue dots on the map represent the power supply points. I want to create workstations which are spaced 2 meters apart. Here I can go to create and choose COVID safe workstations. What I'm about to show you are 2 new features which are coming in the summer release: Smart Stencils and Pointer Feedback. As I move over my floor plan, you should see messages appear. These messages are telling me that I'm too close to an exit point of a room. I know I won't be able to put desks in front of a meeting room door. This new point of feedback gives you messages as you move across the map. Okay, I'm happy with putting a bank of desks here. As I begin to create the bank, you can see them live on the screen. Okay, so let's finish here. I'm now being asked about how many rows of desks I would like and what distance should these desks be apart. I'm going to change it to 3 rows. I can change the distance from 2 as the default to 1, maybe even 3. As the current guideline is 2, I'll keep it at that. And just like that, I now have 12 desks and chairs which are a safe distance apart. I can even see how that's affected my available sockets. In this demonstration, I've shown how we can automate feature creation and how we as users can be informed throughout our editing session by having feedback augmenting our edits. These capabilities, combined with the easy-to-use experience, means that we can make focused apps available to those who need them in our organisation without incurring training or post-cleanup costs. So how do you get building these apps? I'm going to hand you over to Carly, who's going to show you how.
Thanks, Sarah. So now we've been through multiple apps, we hope we've been able to convey just how easy it is to use Suite. But you may also be wondering, well, how easy is it to configure one of these apps for yourself? Believe it or not, it's really not too hard at all, and that's what I'm going to show you now. To start, you can either create an application using a web map you've created, or you can use one of our example templates that sit in the builder. These templates come pre-configured, so if you're starting out and want some inspiration, those templates are a great guide to getting going. For this demo, I created a new Suite app with the Habitat web map I showed you previously in the webinar, and the result takes us to this screen, which we call the wireframe. You'll notice the central feature of the wireframe is designed to look like the Client app, with configurable options in the same locations as a user would find them when using your Suite app, such as the drawing options here and the property panels here. This helps the app creator immediately know where these features can be configured. You can also see these green hotspots that glow on the page. This is a part of our onboarding feature that will be coming later in the year. They offer information to help you get started and direct you to our help documentation that goes into further detail if you require it. So you've got plenty of resources that enable you to build the best Suite app you possibly can. But let's begin configuring this app to work like the one I showed you earlier. When thinking back to that demo, I mentioned something called Topology Rules, which stop features from overlapping. To configure this, we go to the Data Rules Editor tab, select Topology, choose the layer, and then select the button that says No Overlaps. That setting is all it takes to ensure habitats respect layer boundaries. Of course, there are other topology rules you can configure, such as linear habitats touching or crossing with each other, and you can even set up a topology rule that encompasses multiple layers, such as only creating features within polygon boundaries drawn. This could mean habitats can't be drawn unless they're drawn within a survey boundary. Next, I want to start configuring the properties information. We will go back to the wireframe editor page, where I can now access the properties from the pane here. I'll choose a layer of interest, and from here I can now configure if and when a layer is hidden or seen, if a value should be calculated, and if so, how, if there are any rules for validating a data entry, for calculating new entries if features are to be split or merged, and if there are any other advanced attribute calculations that you need to ensure your business logic is met. These options are for each individual field and dynamically change depending on the field type chosen, so your build time isn't spent looking at configurable tools that can't be applied to your field. Furthermore, with any of these options, you can input your own custom arcade, which is the Esri scripting language typically used for creating custom visualizations and labeling expressions, which creates custom rules that support your business logic. So from the Properties pane, we're going to go back to the wireframe editor, as we now want to configure the Plans panel. Selecting the plus button, we get all the panel options available. I'm going to choose Plan, and the panel now updates. All we now need to do is create a service that sits in the ArcGIS organization that will be used to store any plans that are uploaded. Another configuration we can set is the reference layer option. The configuration is just as easy as before, where I go to the plus button and add in the layers panel. Now you can see we have the option to turn reference layers on or off. Finally, I want to show you how to customize the extra settings and theming that users can use to individualize their experience. In the right corner, you'll see a button called Look and Feel, and when you choose it, the option first is to give your app a name. This appears in the top left corner of the Client app. You can then also decide on the default theme the app starts with, and whether you want to give the end users control in changing it. The same option is also available for units, tool names, and environments. So, to summarise, you've now seen how you can configure simple topology rules. You've seen where you can create custom field calculations for your data, how you can add in suite-specific features into your panel, and how you can customize it specifically for your users. There are so many other ways to configure a Suite app, but I do hope by showing you some of the main areas today, you can start to understand what you want from your Suite app and how to configure it yourself. I'm now going to pass back to Sarah for the last time, where she will be concluding these demonstrations.
Thanks, Carly. So we've seen lots of examples of how Suite can be configured, and even taken a look at how you do this by using the Suite Builder. Before we close up on the demonstrations, I wanted to show the offline capability of Suite. Here I have open Suite for ArcGIS Windows, which will run on Windows laptops and devices and tablets. This is the same app that you'd get if you downloaded the Android or iOS app onto your tablet. Enabled for offline use is my Phase 1 Habitat Survey app. For those of you not familiar with Phase 1, it is a specification used to survey habitats. It's also a template that we make available with the Suite Builder license. Although I'm showing Phase 1 here, the offline capability is available for any app or editing scenario by configuring it for offline use in the Suite Builder. In the app, I can take multiple areas offline, which is especially useful if there are users which are going to be visiting multiple sites without internet access. The app itself has the same functionality as what you'd get if you were using the online version, as long as you're not calling requests to external web services. So let's have a look. In this example, I'm an ecologist out in the field capturing information about the habitats. Here I can go into an existing survey and begin to capture habitats. Suite still has the same tools such as the different drawing modes and rules like this one, for example, which ensures all habitats must exist within a survey area. Rules for attributes will also run, again making sure my data is always valid without somebody having to go in and cleaning it up. Finally, as an ecologist, I might want to attach a photo of the habitat that I've just captured. I can do this using the attachment tool, which allows me to use a camera or select an image I already have on the device. That's it for our demonstrations. This has been a chock-a-block webinar. We've shown how Suite can be configured for any editing workflow. And by using Suite Builder, you can configure apps that follow your business rules, ensuring that the data is always valid and can be used immediately for analysis or reporting without any expensive cleanup costs. On top of that, it's just a web app, so you've got all that powerful editing capability available on any device with a browser without having to install anything on your machine. But if you do want to take Suite out in the field and have that same experience, you can using the Android, Windows and iOS app.
So hello everyone, I've just moved onto my headset, so hopefully you can hear me all okay. I'm sorry if there is a bit of a change in audio quality. We are moving onto the Q&A now. So we're going to go through some of the questions that we've got throughout the webinar. If you want to ask questions now, we are still accepting them. So please do ask away. Okay, so let's get started. So you mentioned that templates are free and these can be used by customers. You mentioned that these templates are free and can they be used by customers? Carly, do you want to take that one?
Yes, sure. Hi, everyone. Yes, so the templates are free and they are sample configurations of suites that can be there to help you sort of learn the functionality. With the builder user type, you can actually get access to all these templates, including the Phase 1 template. You can look at these as examples, but if you take a template and you notice it's got the functionality you want, you can just use that template and put your own data and web maps over it as well.
Brilliant, thanks Carly. Okay, so do you need to put the topology rules on the geo database? Okay, so I'll take this one. So topology rules within Suite are defined within the Suite Builder. So Carly kind of showed a sample of that when she was taking us through how to configure Builder. So yeah, so you don't need to put them on the Geo database. You know, there's nothing on the server side or the service side which define topology rules. It all comes from the Suite Builder. So this means that you can configure lots of different apps with different topology rules that are focused just for the editing tasks that you want to do. Okie dokie. Can Suite do tracing? Carly, do you want to take that one?
Yes, so yes is the answer. Suite can do tracing. If you remember one of the first demonstrations where I was showing the drawing modes, when I was showing how I can switch from standard to curved, there's an option down there called follow. And the follow mode is that's what it says. It will follow vertices that you can hover and select over, and it's not limited to following vertices of one feature. You can follow any features that you want as long as they're connected to each other.
Brilliant, thanks, Carly. Okay. Oh, you know what? I might hand this one to you as well. Is this available with ArcGIS Enterprise?
Yes. So everything that you've seen here is also completely available to use within ArcGIS Enterprise, and that even includes the offline capabilities as well.
Brilliant, thanks, Carly. Okay. So this is quite a specific one. So does Suite support OS grid references as a geocoder, but can it calculate OS grid references dynamically when creating new features rather than just searching via a grid reference? So I'll take that one. So I'm assuming that the idea here was that you would use the OS grid reference and maybe populate a field within your feature. Absolutely, there's loads of different options for that. We didn't go into it too much. We are going to be making lots of blogs available and videos and such to kind of give more details to some of the stuff that we've shown today. But with attribute rules, you can absolutely use Arcade to find the grid reference and populate field values with that. Okay, Carly, one for you. So when is the Phase 1 Habitat app being released?
So Phase 1 was released last year and it's now available for you guys to use today. You can even take out a trial of Phase 1 if that's something that you'd be interested in.
Great. Go on, Carly.
No, I was just saying you can send, you can talk to your account manager if you're interested, and they can give you more information and direct you to the links to take out a trial.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be sending information out after this as well with the recording of the webinar. I know this is being asked actually because there has been sound qualities today, which we do apologise for. So yeah, so we'll be sending a link to the webinar and also a link to where you can try out the software. Okay, so what are the formats used in Suite? Okay, so all it's using is your web map and feature services. So it's no different to other apps that you use in the platform. There's no specialized format at all. Like Carly showed the builder, it should feel very much like any of your apps in the ArcGIS system. So absolutely no proprietary formats needed to work with Suite. And there's kind of some joined up questions, like can it work with other apps and stuff like that? So I'll just take that question as part of this. It's just using the web map. So that web map could be opened in ArcGIS Pro, it could be opened in ArcGIS Online, you could be using it in other apps such as field maps. It's all comes from the web map and the feature services. So it's absolutely, the answer is yes. It's not data that you can only access within Suite, it can be accessed throughout the ArcGIS system. The other thing you can do is you can actually use URL parameters within Suite. So we didn't show this today, but if you wanted to, for example, you could launch field maps from, actually I don't know about field maps just because I don't know if field maps has got that capability just yet, but you can definitely launch apps like Survey 123 from the URL parameter. So, click a button within Suite, it would open Survey 123, pre-populate values and such. So you can create links between the different applications too. Okay, so we're getting a fair few questions about licensing as well. So Suite is a premium application. it has got a user type associated. So there's two different user types for Suite. You're either a Suite builder user or a Suite data editor user. And these are kind of similar to how you would use other apps in the ArcGIS system. You'd apply that license to the user in ArcGIS Online, or you can do it through licensing in ArcGIS Enterprise as well. So yeah, if you want to, say, okay, well, we've got a project going, we need to give these users access to it, and then, we've got another project running 3 months later, we need to give these users access to it. That's absolutely fine. You can, change and chop and change users as you need to. Okay. Sorry, but lots and lots of questions will come in, so thank you very much. And I will say, if we can't get to it as part of this session, we will be sending you a response back in email, so don't worry if you've asked a question and we've not got to it. Okay, does Suite operate on Apple devices, iOS? So it's very exciting time. So Suite is now available in the Google Play Store, and it is available from Windows from the builder. For iOS, it is in the process of being accepted. So we have got a beta program, you can access it now, but it is it's actually just with Apple to get that access. So we're hoping in the next few days, fingers crossed, it'll be available in the App Store. But we will be putting out some social media about that when that is available. So really exciting time. Okay. Can Arcade or Python be used to create custom topology and geometric rules? So that's a really interesting one. In terms of creating topology rules, you use the builder and the options that are available. But I do appreciate sometimes, a rule will apply under certain conditions, but not under others. So we have a extra configuration in the builder called geometric validation. Now, what that does is you can put some extra logic basically on top of the topology rules, and you would do that using Arcade. All of the configuration, the Suite, when you'd want to go more into the custom side of things, so the custom, you want to script attribute rules, or you maybe want to do custom commands, all of that is using Arcade. So definitely, if you've not used Arcade before, recommend it anyway, because you're seeing it across all products pretty much across the ArcGIS system are starting to leverage Arcade. So it's definitely worth taking a look at. So is Suite available in Enterprise 10.8, or is it an additional product which needs to be purchased? It is available. So it is, like I mentioned before, it is a premium app. So you do require a license to access it, but it is available for ArcGIS Enterprise 10.8. Okay, is there a layout view function to be able to create exportable PDF plans with companies' logos on and etc.? So we do have capability to create custom reports. So you can, you're able to put this out, if you like, press a button and it can go to a HTML page where you can go and print it. We have another application called Utility Network Editor, which there's loads of demos demonstrating that functionality, and it's something you can absolutely configure within Suite as well. It is quite technical, but it does allow a lot of custom design. You can kind of put you've got a web editor, a web developer within your organization. You can create very, very custom reports. Okay, Carly, one for you. Can you create features by inputting the coordinates for the vertices?
Oh, sorry, got us on mute. I'm just trying to find where that question is. So can they input with coordinates? I believe that is a yes.
It is. So, it is absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I can confirm. Yes, absolutely. It was an enhancement we put in Q3 last year, so that is available. And you can put individual coordinates, or you can put like a list of comma separated coordinates, and it will construct that feature for you, and then run all of the rules. So it will run the topology, the attribute rules, everything. Okie dokie. Just having a quick look through here. Sorry, there's quite a lot. Okay. Does Suite work with generic GNSS Bluetooth connectivity? So that's actually a really interesting question. We have got GPS support with Bluetooth devices. We are actually, we did a last release, which was, I want to say 3 weeks ago. We put some more support in for GPS, but we are looking at how we can improve that, and we're working with some of our customers already to look at how we can support more of the GPS and high accuracy capture workflows. So it is an active area of development. Okay, so regarding the iOS and Android applications that can work offline, are they also web-based or built with the runtime SDKs? Okay, so they are built with the runtime SDK, so great spot. They can run offline and online. So if you want to take an area offline, you can absolutely do that. You know, once your device is disconnected, you'll be able to edit within Suite. Once you've got internet connections, you can resync back up. Or you can use them if you do have internet connection, but you just want to use a device which is like native. So you want to use an app which is native to the device, you can use it as well. So there's, you know, it's kind of up to you. It's flexibility when you're using it online, if you want to access it through a browser or through the application installed on your device. Okay. Just having a quick look through. So a couple of these we may have covered already. So just what is the scripting language used for custom field calculations? You're going to be using ArcGIS for that. There's lots and lots of information. We've got information on our help pages, style guides, you know, advice to get started with. There's also lots and lots available on the broader ArcGIS pages, tutorials to get started with as well. Okay. So what licensing levels are needed to build Suite apps and then for users to access and use them? Okay, so if you've got a Suite builder user type, what you'll need is the ability to create content within your ArcGIS system. So that's typically, you know, the GIS professional users, the creators. Then for you to be able to access those applications that you're actually, if you're just going to go in and edit, so you're creating land parcels, for example, you need to have editor permissions. So you need to have an editor user type as the minimum. Okay. Okay. Just having a quick look through. Sorry, there was a ton of questions that have come through, so we're just making sure we get into ones that have been asked a few times. Yeah.
So I found a question here. I can't remember if I answered it now. Are the photos geotagged or linked to the Polygon? So I don't think we've got to that one yet, have we?
We haven't actually, Carly. Do you want to answer that?
Oh, yeah, I can take that. So we do have attachments as a service that can be enabled within Suite. So like how attachments work within the rest of the ArcGIS system, if you enable attachments on your feature service and then you go into Suite and you can configure the app to be able to enable attachments. And within there is the option to add photos or other files that is accepted across in the ArcGIS system, and it is kept there as an attachment, as you can see within your feature service item details.
Perfect. Thanks, Carly. Okay, so this is probably going to be the last one, but like I said, don't worry if we haven't answered your question, we will get back to you about it. So this one is, does Suite support branch versioning workflows? And the answer is yes, it does. If you do have a service which has got branch versioning enabled, you will be able to use it within Suite. There's also some other stuff. If you are, you know, wondering about how your organization can deal with multiple people editing at the same time and not ruining each other's data, there's a locking functionality which is available in Suite, which might address those concerns without needing to implement branch versioning. But if you do have it, yes, you can use Suite with those services. So we're going to call it there. Thank you very much for attending today. Apologies if you were, you know, affected by the sound issues. Like I said, we will be sending this webinar out, you know, and yeah, thank you very much for attending. And we're going to be doing some sessions as part of the Esri UK conference this year. So, please do check them out. And if you've got any questions or you want to talk about this further, we'll be sending some links out about how you can do so. So good to hear from you. And thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.